I have another thing here that you told me as you were reading the script you had not heard of, so I'll kind of explain it to you a little bit.
Break it down.
So we all remember Pebble. We were actually talking about Pebble the other day, just about tech that's kind of been maybe not forgotten, but not around anymore. And Pebble's that company everyone knew and loved had a real cult following of kind of like the dawn of smartwatches.
Yeah,
right. So they're not around anymore, but apparently the old founder, Eric, I'm going to try and say this last name, Eric Migakovsky.
Okay.
Does that look right?
Sure.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Eric. Oh, we'll be saying Eric for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
He made a website talking how much, or on his website talks how much about how he loves the iPhone mini form factor, but he loathes iOS and really wants an Android version, and he really misses small phones, which apparently is funny because he's also 6'6". So that's interesting.
Not alone in the wanting a small phone camp.
Well, there's a lot of people, but we also just saw the iPhone mini not being brought back for the 14 lineup, right?
So it's a small group that is it's a very vocal minority, a small group that is very passionate about the small phone.
Yep. So Eric wants a small phone. He made a website, and he's convinced that if he can get 50,000 people to sign up about being interested, he can convince a manufacturer to bring this to fruition, a small Android phone. So he, right now he has 6,000 signatures, but it's only been up for like 24 hours. So I just kind of he had a list of what must have, what would be nice to have, what he's looking for. I thought, let's go over it. Let's see how interested you are, how interested people, our audience might be, and they can let us know.
Does he actually believe that 50,000 signatures is enough to convince someone? Like,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure millions of iPhone 12 minis were sold. Like 50,000 is a very small drop in the bucket for the manufacturers out there making phones in scale.
I think 50,000 signatures is small, but he is also someone who's manufactured a product before, and I am not. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt here.
All right. There's not 50,000 commitments to buy or $50,000 $100 deposits. So, all right. Let's see.
So, yeah, let's just go over. I'll go through the specs that he has. He has must have, follow the iPhone mini industrial design as close as possible, consistent with bezels around the entire display. 5.4-ish 1080p OLED display, 60 hertz is fine. Camera must be as good as the Pixel 5 and good low light performance. Stock Android, Snapdragon 8 or other flagship processor equivalent. 5G, hole punch front camera, 2 rear cameras, regular wide angle. I'm assuming he means ultra wide angle because regular usually is like wide angle. So I'm assuming he means ultra wide. 8 gigs of RAM, 128, 250 storage, 4 hours of screen on time, unlockable bootloader, NFC, and then nice to have, rugged enough to not need a case. That's an interesting one. We don't see that very often.
That's a tough one to qualify. Like what?
I don't even know.
Is the iPhone currently rugged enough to not need a case? Because I don't need a case, but you really should have one. Like if you want to match the industrial, okay, I'll get back to that.
That's a weird, yeah, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
It's IP68 water resistance would be a nice to have, but not needed. Fingerprint sensor on power button, hardware, mute switch, wireless charging, eSIM. Those are the nice to haves.
Okay. I'll shed a little bit of light. I've had a couple unique opportunities to maybe work with a smartphone manufacturer in the past. Mm-hmm. And every single time, it's really for me all about like how much input will I really have? I haven't really told anybody about this, but like usually when they approach me, they're like, we have a phone that's nearly done and we want your like approval on it. And then it's the MKBHD phone. And to me, that's not really input. I don't really get to choose anything.
No, it's not at all.
And I've had maybe some where it gets to the point where I can actually make a couple choices about specifics and placement and things like that, but not really too malleable. And then it's the MKBHD phone. But every single time we go through this process, what becomes very clear is making a smartphone is just a series of compromises. You pull one lever down, the other one goes up. You pull another lever up, and another one goes down. And so I look at this list, and that's where my mind goes. And there are some levers here that might not all be able to be up at the same time, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just go through some of these. Industrial design to follow the iPhone mini as close as possible. So I'm picturing an iPhone mini. I like the idea.
I think he just wants the size with consistent bezel.
The size with consistent bezels. Mm-hmm. But then you also say rugged enough to not need a case. So you must not be talking about glass on the back like the iPhone, which is the industrial design of the iPhone.
I don't know what that could. Yeah, I guess you go metal, and he does say doesn't need wireless charging. Might want wireless charging. Do you go metal? The only things I can think of these like don't need a case. I mean, like remember the S8 Active, or like I think there's some Doogee phones out there right now that are these like rugged, hardcore, like construction worker phone or
rugged
whatever.
is definitely nice to have.
They don't do very well.
Yeah, it's tough to say like rugged enough to not need a case and be able to define that clearly. But here's another one. Okay, you have a 5.4-inch 1080p OLED. 60 hertz is okay. I get that. Then you say you want a Snapdragon 8 series or other flagship processor chip. Why? Because you also asked for 4 hours of screen on time. If you want good battery life on a small phone, you probably don't use the highest end chip. Like what have we seen? iPhone SE, high end chip, small battery, not great battery life. And that's an iPhone with great optimization. Then we see another small phone like, I don't know how much, what other small phones are like the Zen phone.
Well, so I look at this whole thing and I think of Zenfone 8, but it was 5.9 inches.
Yeah,
instead.
Not as compact, but that's like kind of close. But do you see a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 in that? Like that's not going to have a 4 hour screen on time. I'll tell you that right now. So when I see all three of those things on this list, 5.5-inch screen.
Zenfone 8's a Snapdragon 888, 888.
And did that have a 4 hour screen on time?
I don't remember screen on time on that. 4,000 milliamp hours.
So a phone because that's not really as compact as the phone we're picturing here.
No, it probably, I'm assuming the max you get is like 3,500. The
iPhone 12 mini is like, what is that? A 1,700 milliamp hour battery or something in there? Like you don't have a lot of space.
I don't know. It's a tough.
So that's, I'm just picturing like the levers in my head. I'm like, all right, you want to pull the lever of a flagship chip? Well, that means no good battery to me on a small phone. So that's a tough one. Storage is cool. So 2 rear cameras, regular and wide angle. That's solid. I think a lot of people using the mini phones too are relative minimalists and would actually be cool with 1 camera, but it's probably not that much extra work to do 2 cameras. Hole punch front camera. Yeah. Seems about right. Mm-hmm. And then 5G world phone. Again, 5G is going to hit battery, space in the phone, heat, and price.
I'm surprised to see 5G on the must-have. I still don't think it's that important of a thing. I'm sure there's, I don't know. Do people agree with that? Do you agree with that? I turn 5G off.
I am with you. I don't turn it off because there is the once in a while where I'm like, oh, neat, 5G, everything's so fast. Mm-hmm. But I do have... I don't think you should buy a phone for 5G yet. No. And I said that a whole year ago, and that's still true. Like I've driven like past areas where I can see a cell tower, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll have 5G from driving by. And I look down at my phone and I have 5GE, which is like basically LTE.
It is LTE.
I'm not convinced that 5G has to be on the must-have for my own mini phone. So I guess I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised to see it here. But yeah, that's going to hit your battery. That's going to hit your price and how much space you have in the phone for a large battery. So yeah, here's what I would tweak. If I could make my own mini phone.
Do it. Maybe he'll let you make the MKBHD version.
I mean, he's not going to like my tweaks. I am saying super fast charging should be a must have because this phone will have bad battery life.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you right now. And give me a 90 hertz display. So going from 60 to 90, I already know I'm hitting my battery. If you leave the flagship chip in there and not a lot of space in there, I want super fast charging because the battery's not going to be good. I'm just going to accept that right now. Mini phone. But like a lot of people using a mini phone aren't doing 4 hours of screen on time in a day. They're trying to use their phone less.
Probably.
They're trying to have like a compact out of the way experience. So, it's just spitballing ideas.
Yeah. I'd be interested. I mean, this is this thing where we in the tech space saw a lot of people really into the iPhone mini and into small phones, and it didn't convert over to sales, obviously enough because Apple discontinued it already after 2 iterations. So we're
not officially yet, but probably happening.
Sorry,
it's
most likely happening.
Just,
and
we're speaking in future terms, but it's probably gone.
Yeah. I don't think it's coming back according to all the rumors we've seen. And we don't see like really small. The Zenfone, like to me, and the Pixel 5 were like the smallest phones we've seen in a while, and their Pixel 5 did okay. I still think the Zenfone 8 is like one of the most underrated phones we've seen in a while.
Agreed.
I think Eric should get a Zenfone 8 or a Zenfone 9, but maybe they'll start getting bigger and bigger. So maybe that's not exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, we'll see.
Unfortunately.
You want to mirror that iPhone, you probably just have to get the iPhone now while you can.
I like the idea of small phones, but I don't think I'd ever buy one. This is the smaller version and still huge, and I just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know a couple people with the mini phone, but yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same camp. Like, if you put a poll out and said, do you want a smaller phone? They go, yeah. And then when the next phone comes out, they don't buy the mini. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know some people with iPhone mini and they love it, and they'll probably hold on to it till it completely dies. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to convince. More power to him. I hope he does. I'm rooting for him.
I hope it gets the 50,000 signatures just so we can see what happens.
Yeah,
that's where I'm
agreed.
at.
We'll also link that website in the show notes if you want to go sign up for it and put your signature out there. Maybe you are interested. Also, if you're on the YouTube, leave a comment, because I would really like to see who would genuinely be interested in this and what price you'd be willing to pay for it. Like, name a price right now if all of this happens.
$550.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
If all of this happens, that's a great deal.
It would be nice.
Thanks for watching that clip. Mac has something special to say to all our. What was that? Subscribe. Press the like button.
Mac has this thing where he knows when a camera is on and doesn't look at it. Have you noticed that?
This is Mac subscribing to the Waveform Clips channel.
It's a good thing audio listeners don't have to use clips after it. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, man.